Alright, so we're going to start building a new battery. I had to hastily put something together a couple months ago because my small battery, you guys have seen videos on before, I built a new housing for it using glass-filled PET filament, and prints beautifully. Everything was looking good. And went to pull the battery out of the car, and some of the cells had swollen and they were stuck in the old PLA housing, and I could not get them out, and ended up destroying 3 of the 4 cells trying to get them out. So I have, let me flip this around. I have a box from Battery Hookup. We have these LG JP3 lithium ion cells, 235 amp hour or watt hour, 64 watt amp hour battery. I've charged this one up to 14.2 and discharged it at work, and was able to measure out the full 64 amp hour or 235 watt hour. So I still have, so there's 4 in the carport, plus this one's 5, so there should be like 11 more in this box. So what we have is I designed a new housing and the wiring and all that for the cell balancer, which is now inside of here. And then this is a TPU plug to fill that in, so that will get RTV'd in place, so if I ever have to service the components inside, I can kind of cut it out. This goes up to that cell voltage reader widget that will send CAN bus messages forward to the front so I can see individual cell voltages. So this is all the wiring. All this stuff needs to get tied together, and that's what all of this hardware is for, the eyelets. And these screws are what's going to tie the cells together front to back and forth. So we'll get all that laid out here in a second. Alright, so I want to go over these real quick. So these started life out as 1/2 inch copper pipe for water, and they actually measure out to 5/8 diameter, and then if you take 5/8 diameter times that by pi, gives you like 1.9 or so. So then when you smash it flat, you actually end up with a 1 inch wide, just under 1 inch, like 7/8, a little bigger than 7/8 wide copper strip for a bus bar. And then I was able to pretty much drill tap. What I'm going to do is heat all this up and hit it with some solder to fill in all the gaps, and see if that makes it a little more robust. But this now gives me a point to secure to a tab on the battery, and then this will provide pass through to these 2 holes. So one will be a positive and one will be a negative bus, and that will probably be something like this, a 3/8 bolt sticking through like that. And then the hardware here, these are copper lock washers and nuts, will use to hold all that in place, and it should leave me enough to do another nut along with the lug that goes to the car power. So alright, next day, got this all kind of put together. Has some little issues yesterday, but I think got this figured out with the bus bars across the top. Now got all the wiring sorted out for the cell balancers. This thing's in here, it's the lights turned on, so it's connected. Also found an old IBM laptop charger, happens to put out 16.4 volts. So I have it all wired up here, moving about 4 amps into this battery. This battery is about 900 watt hour, is what it turns out to be. It's a pretty good sized battery, capable of about 500 amps for like 10 seconds or 300 amps continuous. So you really got to be careful that you don't short leads together or start melting things. So yep, so this is what it's going to look like. This lid will get shoved onto here and will get pushed all the way up in there, so the total length will be about that long. So it's about 16 inches or so altogether. And then, yep, and then we'll glue, once we get all the wiring sorted out, we'll glue this little cap. It's TPU. We'll glue the cap on there to keep water out of the cell balancer, and we should be good to go. Got this thing all buttoned up, got all the wiring sorted out internally, marked negative, positive, top and bottom. Charger hooked up. We're up to 16.2 almost. Cell balancer is in and working. Upside down. That seems to be working. I'll glue in this TPU top to keep it waterproof-ish. Screws here, I need to shorten them by about 2 threads so they don't poke into the actual cell itself. And then what I'll probably do with the electrical tape is run around it 2 or 3 times to seal this inlet. There's a TPU gasket in there that we also designed, so that should probably keep most of the water out. I'll probably also back nut out eventually here and do some like black RTV and then run those down, and that will seal the top. And then next we'll be actually fitting this to the car with these 8 1/4-inch holes. I'll probably do some inserts into the chassis, and then I'll have to mark out exactly what that's going to look like and get all those squared away, and then do the bottoms, and then that way it'll be nice and secure and the car won't fall out, hopefully. But yeah, so far I like it. It's kind of heavy, but it's a lot of battery. It's almost 900 watt hour, or actually it's a little over 900 watt hour. 64 amp hour times the 16 volts. So alright, we're going to go through the process of getting this thing hung up underneath the back of the car. The plan is to use these inserts, 1/4-20s, and these 1/4-20 bolts. Got bags of these things, and so from underneath we'll drill out where we think these are going to go, and then I'll have to play with swedging these into place. And then alright, so this is the current battery arrangement. It's got it shoved up under here with some of these straps that I had at the moment. So yeah, you'll see where this is gonna, the new battery is gonna go in here somewhere. I need to get this one out because I need to reuse these cables. They have ends on them, I'm pretty sure. That's how I had them all set up. So yeah, so we'll get this all torn apart. Alright, so slowly getting these inserts sorted out. I got one more to drill up here, and just need to do this one. I got the little meathead out here helping me. So hopefully here shortly I can just have the battery mounted up here permanently and show you what that looks like. Alright, a little bit of finagling, got all the bolts in, got all 8 of them. We can't really see the top ones, but they are in. So I'll go to modifying the cables, put different ends on them, and then see if we can get everything hooked back up to the back of the kill switch and then up to our ground up here, and see if this thing will start. Alright, so over here on the cable end, these are 5/16 eyelets, and they need to be 3/8, like are on the big end here and over there. So I have 3/8, 2 gauge by 3/8 hole, came out of that kit over there. So we'll be able to cut these ends off, strip them back, stick these on there, crimp them on there, and create our battery cables. Alright, so I got all the battery cables sorted out. This runs up top. There we go. Runs up over to the lug. Same with the positive. Loops up and around. Connects back over here. Ooh, if you can even see it. There we go. The back there. Got this stuff all plugged in. Goes up to the cell voltage widget, so I can see the voltages of the cells forward. And we'll do a quick start real quick. Alrighty, so in the car, key on. So if you can see that or not, click on the battery. Got cell voltages.
fine. I'll do some voltage checks later on the alternator output and how it's getting fed to the back, but everything seems to be working good, so hopefully this works for a while.